Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Tower of Gods chapter 301, and that would be Season 2, Episode 221. And this one, I feel like we got everything. We got everything we could have, or that I could have asked for in a single chapter, and then some, so I'm very happy. Like I said, I thought we might get an auction arc, but we handled all the auction stuff in one chapter. So, yeah, we really blew through some content here, and it was friggin' great too. And honestly, I have more notes for the blog this week than the actual chapter, because you guys know I will throw in the blog info if there's important blog info, and there was a ton this week. But so yeah, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to talk about the chapter part by part, then the blog and all the information there, then my general thoughts on it all, and then the score. So yeah, like usual with this, except there's going to be a lot more blog info than usual. But basically, starting off, we have everybody watching Kaiser at the festival, and best girl Kaiser. Best girl Kaiser, most beautiful girl Kaiser, top girl Kaiser. So yeah, Lopobia Elaine, she puts on this show of her skills with the sword and the needles and everything, and her real inventory talents. So yeah, I think it's really cool, and SIU paired it with her sort of monologuing within herself, letting go of her family and all that, and it just ended up great. It was a really, really good scene. So we see Ruda Ha, and we know that he's working for a princess. I was gonna say we don't really know which princess at the very beginning, but then again, I guessed it right away in the live reaction, I'm pretty sure. So I'm sure if I guessed it right away in the live reaction, a bunch of you probably did as well. It's probably not it probably wasn't a very shocking thing. So he's working for a princess, and I love seeing Bomb and Andrassi's group watching on as well. That was a really good touch, and especially seeing what Andrassi thought of it, really good touch. So Kaiser letting go of her family and moving on, we get a lot of panels of her performance and everything, and some flashback panels, and the art for that was some of the best we've had for the series. I say that again and again, and I'm saying it again here. It was seriously, seriously high quality art for that sequence. So I loved that. Then we've got the amazing, all the auctioneers really, really love her, and we see the ranker Lopobia Porp, and we have this really, really cool showdown of bidding between Lopobia Porp, Ruda Ha, and of course Ha Jinsung, who is just amazing this chapter. Pretty much every chapter he's in, he's amazing. He is one of the best characters in my opinion. So I loved him here, and Porp bids 60 million points. Ruda Ha bids 2 billion, and Jinsung bids 10 billion. And we have some more, we have a bit of something to compare it to for what that amount means in the blog, so I'll get to that later. But of course that means that Jinsung wins, and Jinsung is actually buying Kaiser, paying off her debt for Bomb's sake, because he wants some favor from his favorite student. So I love Jinsung's relationship with Bomb so much. And we actually see a point of view behind Bomb as he and his team are walking out. And the way they're talking, I think it's Elaine's, and I really hope that's Elaine's point of view behind Bomb, and that she's leaving with him, because I think it is, and I hope that's the case. So Ruda then reports in to Yuri, so we find out it is true. He was working for Yuri the entire time, and Yuri had planned for him to buy back Bomb when Bomb lost, because she figured that Kaiser is something that they send people to do, and nobody's beaten her for 1,000 years. Bomb would lose, Yuri would buy him back and say, this is what happens, you're not ready for the floor of death. So now Yuri is pretty shocked that he actually took Kaiser's name, because she immediately knows, okay, if they say Andrassi defeated her, probably a lot of complex stuff went down for Kaiser to go down, and Bomb's probably going to return with her name. So she's shocked about that, and she's like, oh man, I really actually now have to take him to the floor of death, I mean. So yeah, that was interesting. Then Masheni calls Yuri, and I think Yuri's reaction to that was really, really cute. And she wants to bet her Yellow May for Yuri's Green April. And one of you, Cycle 113 I think it was, asked what I think the bet was going to be after my live reaction, and I do think that the bet is likely going to be something like Masheni's like, I have these princesses and regulars allied with me, like Maria, Lilial, Shilial, and I think they can be the ones that are allied with you. And she's going to think, of course, that Anak and Andrasi are allied with Yuri, and probably rightfully so if they continue with Bomb onto the Hell Train. So, yeah. I think that's about what the bet is going to be. And then the big shock at the end that really actually surprised me a lot and was kind of big for me was Karaka is on the train. I was really, really excited to see Karaka's actually on the train, and he's reading the memories from Pedro's corpse, which is an interesting ability. It seems that Shinsu abilities have pretty wide ranges, so I think it's interesting that he can actually read the memories from Pedro's corpse. And it's interesting too, because I see Karaka as kind of on a similar level with Yuri. I feel like they're both like powerful rankers that are rising up through the ranks. Right now it's kind of difficult to say which one is stronger, but I'd say they're both pretty similar in strength. They're both really, really powerful already, and they're getting even more powerful because they're still young and growing. So yeah, blog information. So for the blog information, SIU said he wanted to have this chapter and the monologuing with Kaiser to sort of feel like an epilogue to Kaiser as a whole, bringing Elaine in, saying goodbye to Kaiser. And he said that he actually wanted to name it The Auction at first, but he changed it to call it The Festival, because he was like, the auction is literally what it is. I didn't want to give it a name that was so literal that we're just calling it exactly what it is. He also said that it's interesting that Kaiser here is not caring about repenting for her mistakes. She doesn't care about the evil she's done right now. She's resolving her relationship with her parents, letting go of all that. And he didn't want Kaiser to just suddenly regret all the wrong that she's done, because that would feel forced. And I really agree with this, and I think it's really good writing that he's like, she did all this evil stuff, but she did it because she was trying to do this thing. She's not the type that's going to really feel guilty about it or anything right away. So I think that's a really, really cool thing to add in. And he also says that Kaiser is definitely a villain, and FUG would have never saved her or spent 10 billion points on a regular. So it's really cool to see how FUG respects and follows Bomb, considering him their god, so much that they would spend that kind of money on something they would never do just because Bomb said so. And it's interesting that SIU mentions as well, this shows how much FUG will listen to whatever their Slayer says, whether good or bad. And I think it's interesting that he mentions whether good or bad, because I've been saying for a long time that I think FUG as a whole, I think Grace Merche Luslik may turn out to actually be a good guy. It's just the way that some of his followers are going about things, like Karaka, is bad. So I think it's really interesting to show that Slayers can be bad, and the people in FUG listening to them will be bad and follow their orders. Or you could be good. Bomb could be a good guy, and all the people in FUG that were reporting to him would listen to him and do good things. So it's interesting to show, and I've said interesting a lot here, but it's cool to show that FUG is that loyal to Bomb, or at least his allies in FUG are that loyal to him. So also, SIU mentioned that if Bomb wasn't so perfect in his sense of justice, even he wouldn't have ordinarily saved Kaiser. So I think that, again, really good to note. And explaining more about the 10 billion points, they go into it a lot. There's a lot of different places in the tower. The tower is a huge place, so naturally there is not one single currency. Each different country, different places have different currencies. And points are a currency system that's kind of loose, and since they travel around, rankers and regulars use points as their currency, and they points are like their own currency for regulars and rankers since they travel around, and they can exchange them for different currencies at different rates within the tower. So I think it's really cool just how the system is set up, and it's not just so simple as this one currency for the whole world or anything. So he also says that in most like 10 billion is what Jinsung spent on Kaiser. They said 100 million means you're rich in most areas. Most areas, he notes, other than, say, the 10 families or the areas around them where all of the rich families live. So in a normal place, most places, 100 million will leave you rich for your entire life. Yet we spend, what, 100 times as much? Not doing the math in my head right now. 100 times as much as that just for one regular. That's insane. And it shows, and he mentions how Jinsung is extremely wealthy. And I just think it's so interesting. And of course it makes sense, said interesting again, but it makes sense because Jinsung is like one of the top 100 strongest people in the entire tower. And he's been around for a while. He's a high ranker in FUG. He's one of, he's the trainer of 2 of their Slayer candidates. He was from a 10 family. Jinsung is rolling in it. Also, he does elaborate that Ryun, the one she called was Jinsung. She called him and asked him to pay for Kaiser for bomb. So that is the explanation behind all of that. And also talking about Karaka. Yeah, that's the last thing in the blog is SIU talks about Karaka. He says that Karaka is going to be one of the story's main forces, and that Karaka is also one of the youngest Slayers, and that he's active, skilled, and rising, like sort of like an evil version of Yuri. He's young, he's skilled, he's rising up in the ranks, just the way Yuri is, except on the FUG side of things. So I think, again, really cool that they're drawing parallels between Yuri and Karaka like that. And also another thing to notice, and that they noted in the translation, is that everything with Karaka that SIU says is always kept gender neutral. So, of course, there are 3 options here, at least in my opinion, is that they wouldn't keep it gender neutral if it was just a guy, so Karaka is probably a woman, is probably my biggest guess. But there's also the chance that maybe Karaka is a guy, and the whole not using the gender thing is just to throw us off there. Or maybe it just doesn't matter either way and we're never even going to really find out. They're just going to stay behind the mask. But I think, and I've called it for a while, I thought Karaka was going to be a female character. And I also said that I thought she was going to be related to Wangman, but I'm not sure. Maybe she's some sort of fallen princess or something, and Karaka and Yuri will have some sort of showdown. Something like that would be cool, but that's just some basic thoughts. So overall for the chapter, the art was amazing, especially in those Kaiser sequences where she's doing the festival performance and everything. I thought was really, really nice. We got new rankers introduced to us with Ruda and Porp, so that's always nice. We have more princess stuff, which I am loving. I love all the princess stuff we've been getting this arc. We have Misheni and Yuri talking to each other, and I love seeing Yuri again. I love having Misheni here. Elaine is the best girl, and I really hope she does end up traveling with Bomb. And the Karaka hype. The Karaka hype got me. That is real. So yeah, that's it. I'm giving this one 10 billion points out of 10. Because, sorry. Thing on my screen. But, yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed this one. 10 out of 10. Just because there was so much here that I couldn't have asked for more, really. And let's just hope, let's pray Elaine is going with Bomb. Let's hope for it. And that's it. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Like if you did like the video. Comment down here. Tell me, like, what you thought of the chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, One Piece, Walking Dead, a ton of stuff, and much more. I guess follow on Twitter as well for updates on the channel and everything, and that would be it. So thank you all one last time for watching, and I'll see you all next time.